Welcome. Welcome to Dreamforce. It's a beautiful day in the city. The Giants are in the playoffs, and here we are. Go Mets. It's going to be a good game. So I'm very happy to be here with you today to talk a little bit about some of the things we're doing at Salesforce. I've been at the company about 9 years, and 17 years ago, the company started in an apartment probably 12 blocks from here. And from that time, at zero in revenue as a startup, to today as a company of over $7.5 billion of recurring revenue, we've been really evolving a sales playbook to help our teams make every month. So I'll be sharing some of that story over the next 25 minutes with you. You might see this slide once or twice more before the conference is over. Please don't make purchase decisions based on product that's not yet available in the market. Okay, so I have a great job. I get a chance to travel around and talk to customers, business executives, sales leaders, and one of the things I hear is consistent with this research you see here on this slide, which is that the world of sales is getting harder. The competition is getting smarter. Buyers are becoming more sophisticated. Their expectations are raised. And in many cases, as you can see in the middle of the slide, buyers are more price-oriented perhaps than they've been in a while. So that puts pressure on our selling teams to be able to deliver more value, to work hard, to get away from a price-competitive game, which is a very hard place from which to build a sustaining business. The sales rep's job is evolving, but so is the sales manager. No longer is the sales manager stuck behind their desk and email. They're on the road. And from whichever airport terminal they happen to be in that day, they need to have a pulse on their business. They need to be aware of the hot spots in the business, the things that require their attention to put their team and themselves in a position to execute month in and month out. So in the face of some of these challenges, let me shift gears a little bit and talk about life at Salesforce. I'll start with just the way that we go to market. This is really important, I think, to get right, to get high-performance teams. You can see this traditional market pyramid. The way that we organize is by company size. So we have teams that cover the largest companies in the world, think Global 2000 type logos. In the middle, where my team operates in the US, the commercial teams of companies of 100 to several thousand employees. And then at the bottom of the pyramid, the base is our SMB business, organizations less than 100 employees. Now for us at Salesforce, each one of these markets is a massive opportunity. So we want to make sure that we have dedicated focus and accountability in each of these segments in order to produce performance. You can imagine if this was one big pyramid and within it reps could travel wherever they wanted, chase any kind of opportunity, what would happen? They'd all go up, right? They'd all chase the biggest deals and we would leave the base of the pyramid underserved, which would be a real problem for us. So one of the lessons I think that we've learned in this journey is that the sales teams need to be dedicated by segment, but also the supporting functions. So maybe you have selling teams that require pre-sales help or post-sales, customer support, marketing help. To the degree that you can get those functions supporting the sales teams dedicated by segment, I think you can get better help because, of course, those folks will just get dragged up the pyramid too if left otherwise. So we think a lot about trying to align the skill sets of our teams to these segments, and we also think a lot about how to balance territories. You know, it's really important for us to be able to tell salespeople that they have an equal opportunity to make their number, that their neighbor has an equal opportunity than they have. If you think about our company growing 25% over the last quarter, and really if it's been going that way for some time, our sales team is exploding. We are always hiring and we're always injecting more capacity into the model. And so the only way we can do this with any success is to look at a variety of data. So for us, at the beginning of the year, we reset our table, we recarved territories, and we look at a lot of really interesting data that helps us determine the quality of all these patches. So I want to look at, for example, things like in a given territory, show me the concentration of customers and prospects with high degrees of knowledge workers. So you can think of certain industries. Those are places we tend to play pretty well. Professional services, high tech, financial services, et cetera. Versus, say, a mining company who we could help, but probably not to the same degree. Show me the concentration of customers to prospects. Show me the concentration of customer wallet share. Do we have a lot of customers in that market that are perhaps consumers of one of our solutions with we have a lot of room to run? Or are there a lot of customers that have everything we have to bring to bear? Is it a market where we have great partner coverage? You know, if you buy Salesforce, as you would know, you need to implement the solution, and it's very important that we have certified partners in the market to be able to deliver that capability. So all of this algebra goes in, and that's how we determine how to slice and dice the world so that we can have that discussion with a salesperson And it's really the way that we determine whether we need 5 people in Montana or maybe 50 or 500 in Manhattan. And balanced AE attainment, by the way, is not just good for the AEs. It's great for them because they have an equal opportunity, but it's great for us because if I have balanced attainment, I'm going to have less AE attrition. And as fast as I'm growing and as hard as we're working to recruit great talent in the door, the last thing we want to do is lose them for the wrong reason. So let's shift gears a little bit away from how we're organized. I want to talk a little bit about business and how we build the business. And it really starts with leads. You know, the research on leads is really fascinating. Half of the battle is being first. This data on the left, I'm just going to unpack a little bit. If you reply to a lead inside of the first minute, you are 391%, basically 5 times more likely to convert that lead. What you don't see on the slide is if you wait an hour, you reduce those chances by 10x. And if you wait a day, you probably shouldn't even bother calling them because you reduce your chances by 20x. So we've got to be first and fast, but we also have to put our reps in a position to be equipped to have a great interaction. And in the middle of the slide, you can see that over 40% of salespeople feel like, geez, I don't have the information I need to have a really successful interaction. So I'll share a little bit about how we handle lead routing and access at Salesforce. The first thing is our lead engine is aligned with all those territories you just saw on that map previously. So instantaneously, leads get in the hands of the people that are accountable to those leads in the market. So there's literally no time lost there. But the second thing we do is for the salespeople, they're on the road perhaps and they're on their mobile phone, I can see leads coming in and I can determine the disposition of those leads. For example, imagine buyer A, I can see has been surfing blogs and best practices. They're clearly sort of in this educational mode at the top of the funnel. Buyer B, on the other hand, perhaps they just downloaded a trial and they've been surfing the pricing page. And if I'm the rep, with a swipe of my finger, I can take the buyer A, put them into a nurture queue and help them get educated on the kinds of problems we can potentially solve for them, maybe get them invited to an event in their market. The second one, though, I want to call right now, and I want to be able to say, geez, I see you downloaded a trial. I'd love to help you be successful. Try to understand a little bit the problems you're trying to solve. I also noticed you've been evaluating some of the different options you have in terms of our solution on our homepage, and I'd love to help you with that as well. So it's a much more powerful interaction in real time, and you can see that the teams that do this well are the teams that win. So those are incoming leads. What about the customer base? Well, 17 years ago, we were a single product company. We sold Salesforce automation. It was basically a departmental app. We had some limited upsell opportunity, but that was about it. Just walking down here, I'm sure you've noticed, there's a lot more that we can do for companies today, and that we want to do for companies today. So we built an app for our sales team to evaluate the best places to go in their customer base. Whitespace for us are all the places inside of our customers that we could be doing business but aren't. And with all the preponderance of solutions that we have available as salespeople at Salesforce now, it's sometimes hard to know where should I go fishing first. Which of my customers might be more likely than others to have a good conversation? So we know, for example, if you're using Sales Cloud and you sell B2B, you're going to benefit greatly from having integrated quoting, from having integrated data that's clean and accurate, from having integrated lead nurturing campaigns. So I would like to surface those up for our salespeople to be able to go and chase them first. And as a leader, I can see the progression that we're having week to week as we chase down that opportunity. So hopefully between leads and our customer base, we're creating a lot of opportunity, and that's resulting in a ton of pipeline. Now at my level, that becomes a rather large number to try to evaluate. So I really need to have the ability to dissect and slice that pipeline by product, by market, by deal size, by all sorts of ways. And of course I can do that. And then as a salesperson, we want to make it really easy for them to update their pipeline. You can see here on the slide, really, literally the rep just has to click and drag their opportunity to the next stage to reflect the progression. Now this is probably a pretty good time to just talk about a mantra we have at the company that many of our customers have adopted too, which is that if it's not in the app, it did not happen. If it's not in the app, it did not happen. Why is that so important? Well, there's no way to get the insights we would like to have as leadership from these systems if the quality of the data is not capturing all these important interactions we're having. Now it's on us as leaders to make sure we're putting great tools in the hands of our teams, and that when they use those tools, they feel like they can sell more. So here we are, we're building all this pipeline, we're zipping along, and the last thing we want to do is stumble at the finish line. have a manual process to get a quote out the door, or perhaps chase around people to figure out who's got to approve this discount, or worse yet, have a piece of paper in the field that somebody's got to sign and scan and send back so we can close a deal. At Salesforce, we spent a lot of time investing in those kinds of systems to try to automate every last bit of that last mile of the sales process. So my team processes about 2,000 transactions a month. And you can imagine our ability to have integrated quoting, our ability to have automatic workflows so that discount approvals, when properly justified, will get approved by the people that can approve it, and having e-signature so that customers, if they're at home and just landed and would like to visit their family, can click on their phone so that we can book an order. It's very, very powerful. All right, so we like speed, but we really love data. We have a bit of a data obsession at Salesforce. I don't think you can manage what you can't measure. And arguably, we measure everything. So you can see our sales funnel here. This is sort of tipped up on its side. Bookings is on the right. And input leads coming in on the left. And we have metrics that we're managing all along the way of this funnel. And I would say one of the things that we have gotten better at is really getting great alignment at the beginning of the year between the sales and marketing teams, both of whom own this, so that we all know what great looks like. We know what great lead conversion looks like to produce enough pipeline. We know what great close rates look like to be able to convert enough pipeline into bookings. And the way that we get to those targets is we start with the bookings target, and we work backwards into all the predecessors. So what's the bookings target? What's the historical close rate we've seen? How much pipe should that mean we're going to have to produce? And to get that much pipeline, how many leads are we going to have across our typical lead conversion ratios from all of these different, we call them horses, you can imagine channels, account executive source pipeline, marketing source pipeline, business development rep source pipeline, et cetera. So we really measure everything. And I would say that one of the things we measure the most, at least on the sales team, is pipeline. We really look at it a lot of different ways. And I can guarantee you one thing, and that is that if you want to have a business that's making every month, there's absolutely no way to do it if you don't have enough pipeline. There's just no way. And the only way to build enough pipeline to make every month is to be doing it every single day. So why is that important? Well, perhaps you've had this experience as a sales leader. It's the 26th of the month. You're staring down the barrel of whatever your forecast was, and you realize you have a huge gap to get to your number. It's way too late to fix it. You have 4 days. It's not possible. So what we do is we look at pipeline every single day. We have a cadence that's broadcasted pipe gen by team. The teams are accountable for it. And in doing that, we can identify in a particular area, let's say of mine, that, you know what, we're 5 days in and they're struggling. I can contact that leader. I can have a conversation about, look, what are some of the things the steps you're taking to address the issue, because you should know about the issue before I get to you, hopefully. And secondly, if you need some help, let's talk about it. Let's brainstorm. Maybe I can help you get some marketing air cover, run some events. Maybe there's a promotion or two that we could run. But the point is that we're dealing with it on the 5th of the month as opposed to the 26th. So one of the ways that we visualize a lot of these metrics is dashboards, and one of my favorite dashboards is called the AMP dashboard. So AMP stands for activity, meetings, and pipeline. Because if we want to build enough pipeline every day to get to that bookings target so that we can make every month, we certainly want to be doing the things to produce pipeline. And what are those? Well, the way that we see it, if you're going to be building a lot of pipeline, you're probably going to be having a lot of meetings talking about, hopefully, projects that we can help clients with. And if you're going to be generating a lot of meetings, you better be having a lot of high-quality activity. And so we look at those inputs very, very carefully. And, look, I think about dashboards the same way I think about a comp plan. If a comp plan for sales, if it's really well designed, what's going to happen? You're going to get the exact behavior you want. You want to increase attach rates on a product in the market? Put it in the comp plan. You want to extend contract lengths with customers? Put it in the comp plan. You want to increase your ability to build pipeline by tracking activities and meetings? Put it in a dashboard. Because we're all hopefully hiring type A competitive people, and they don't want to be at the bottom of any leaderboard. And plus, if they're smart, which hopefully we're hiring for as well, they know that these are inputs that the best people in the business are following, so I need to be doing it too. Now, the AMP dashboard is an example of a dashboard that's showing me the things that are happening in my business. how about a dashboard to show me the things that are not happening? So this is a little bit tongue-in-cheek. This dashboard's called the Clean Your Room dashboard. Anybody have kids? Okay, when my kids were much younger, they couldn't go out and play with their friends until they had cleaned their room. So this is for our AEs, and it's a reminder that we need to make sure we're reflecting all the inputs that help us gauge the quality of the health of our business. So for me, I can look at a whole bunch of really interesting metrics here. I'll give you a couple examples. One is show me all the opportunities that the team is forecasting to close next week, and we haven't talked to the client in the last 2 weeks. Well, that's probably not likely to happen. Show me all the deals that have slipped out of a previous month when it was forecasted to close and slipped into the next month. In fact, so we call that a push. So if it slips out of 1 month into a next month, that's a push. We have a field on our opportunities. We track, we call it the push counter. Show me all the opportunities that have pushed 5 times. That may represent projects that are no longer a priority for our customers. We probably need to move on to the pipeline that's much more likely to convert. And you get the idea. So I can look at the Clean Your Room dashboard and really get a much better handle, not just on whether we're creating a lot of pipeline, we've got a lot of activities and meetings, we're generating a lot of pipe, but is the pipeline reliable? And is that that can help inform my forecast. So we talked a little bit about the increased challenges for salespeople out in the market. We spent a lot of time trying to help them get educated and equipped to succeed and to win out there. And one of the ways we do it is through this virtual water cooler. Now, this is enabled through a product we call Chatter. It's a collaboration layer in our application. And we use this all over the place. Think of these collaboration groups around different kinds of themes. Maybe it's a competitor. Maybe it's a product. Maybe it's a collaboration group around a big event like this one to try to get organized and deliver it. Maybe it's a big account where we have a lot of people engaged. If I'm a new salesperson at Salesforce, which chances are most of them are at the pace we're growing, and I'm 30 days into my job and I am thrust into this competitive scenario with like the big competitor in that market, what do I do? Well, in the old world, I would lean over to my neighbor and see if he or she knew anything. But in this world, what he or she can do is they can go to this competitive group and they can get educated on everything that we know company-wide on how to beat that competitor. They can click a button and get a report of all the places we've gone head-to-head and won. They can click a button and they can see all the customers that used to use that vendor that no longer do, and they replaced them with Salesforce. They can click a button and get access to all the proposals and templates and presentations that were used to win against that competitor. So suddenly I have the power of 15,000 salespeople behind me on day 31 to get in the market and hopefully succeed. And that principle applies to our industry groups, where if I'm selling into the manufacturing industry and need to get familiar with some of the issues that are afoot in that industry, I can go there. It's also the way that I run my team. So most of my communication, a lot of it at least with a dispersed team, is through this collaboration engine, and I can highlight great results and discuss priorities. And as I was getting ready this morning for this event, there are dozens and dozens of posts being made by our sales team about all the things that they're doing successfully, lessons learned, teachable moments, sharing with the team. So it's a great way that we've been able to decrease the ramp time of our salespeople and equip them to navigate some of these choppy waters we've been discussing. We cultivate talent in other ways as well. You've probably noticed a little bit of a trailhead theme here at Dreamforce. That's our learning management system, where you can, as a customer, learn a ton about how to be successful with our solutions. Well, we've also used that very same platform to teach our sales team elements of this playbook. How to map a large account, how to plan your territory, how to run a great event, all of these things. And my sales team can go through and get badged on these 5 or 10 or 15-minute segments, very sort of bite-sized chunks. And I, as a leader, can sort of gauge the progressive aptitude of our teams as we're marching along. It's really been a great learning opportunity for our teams. And then in the middle, this is very non-high tech, but I think is totally worth sharing. There is no substitute in sales for being able to stand up and give the pitch, right? Can you stand and deliver the pitch? So what do we do here? We film somebody giving what we think is a good 5 or 6 minute pitch that we want the team to emulate. Maybe it's around a new product. We post it. We invite the 300 reps or so on my team to go study it, internalize it, send back a video of them doing it. We make it a contest. We have some fun. We have prizes. There always has to be a winner. And at the end, what have I accomplished? Well, I have 300 reps now who are right on message with the best message we think for us to win in the market. It's interesting, we just did this for one of our newer solutions in July, and I came out of July and we built maybe 1 million of pipeline in July, and we built closer to 5 or 6 in August and 7 or 8 in September. And I really think it was due to this exercise. And then coaching, I just want to take a minute on coaching, because I believe that as frontline sales managers, the single biggest reason they fail is an inability or unwillingness to coach. Could be one or the other, but they don't do it. Because you have to be able to sell. You better be good at selling. But if you can't teach, your team will never scale. And so we really hire for this. We think about it a lot. We promote for it. And we reinforce it. We expect our leaders to have 3 or 4 one-on-ones a month with their team to help them develop their game. So we work really hard to recruit the best talent we can and to cultivate that, to cultivate them here at Salesforce. And then we also want to retain them. And I think, we have a mission to get the best possible sales talent in the industry. That's one of our missions as a sales organization. And in order to do that, we need to be able to tell the best talent out there, look, come to Salesforce, spend the best years of your career. It's going to be the most rewarding, you're going to learn the most, your network is going to increase, you're going to have the most fun. But we also have to have a career path that's very clear and credible. And so we bring people in at, all the way across this chart you have here. On the far right side is our most senior positions for individual contributors. On the far left is kids coming out of college to answer the phone when it rings. And then they can move up through the ranks. But it's very important for us to be able to do that. You might find this surprising. Every year I promote about 25% of my team. So I have 300 salespeople. Imagine taking the 25%, all the best reps. I high-five them on the way up to the next adventure for them. Why would I possibly endure that type of disruption in my business? This is a little hard to manage, right? Well, a couple reasons. One is, if I don't demonstrate that career path is real, then we're never going to be able to attract and keep the kind of talent I've been talking about. And the second thing is I'm getting some help from the segment below me as well. And of course, there are manager jobs as well. A lot of folks we do hire from the outside for managers quite often. I love the fact that I get a different view from the market, different experience. Sometimes we've just been staring at a problem too long. It's really helpful to get a fresh set of eyes on it. But I also love that we get folks who've come up through the ranks who can coach because they are fluent in this playbook. They've lived this playbook, and they can teach this playbook. And that's one of the best ways to make every month. So let me just highlight some of the themes that we've talked about. There are really 4 of them. One is nailing your go-to-market. Making sure you have the accountability and the focus in the discrete markets you want to succeed in, and that you hopefully have dedicated functional support for those teams. Second is building a pipeline machine. Thinking about it every single day, measuring it every single day, but also, as you notice, we're trying to make it easier for teams to build pipeline. We're constantly thinking about what are more tools we can put in the rep's bag so that building pipeline is less of a slog and it can be easier and more successful. The third thing is this data obsession. I just think this has been so critical to our success and growth as a company. We measure it all, and it really does help us figure out where to focus and where not to. And then lastly, and possibly most importantly, the team. Getting the best talent you can, nurturing them, helping them survive in these choppier sales waters than we've had in some time, and then working hard to give them a career that they can have and take advantage of here at the company. So if you like these kinds of topics, I know I love reading this stuff. I invite you to check out Quotable. So Quotable is an online subscription. There are various thought leaders who are publishing articles here. Some of the content we've just reviewed is in further detail on Quotable. Many of the thought leaders you're going to hear from today have posted there as well. And with that, before I turn it over to the next speaker, I would just like to thank you for being here at Dreamforce and for listening a little bit about what we do here at Salesforce. And lastly, I just want to wish you the very best in your week and in your pursuit of making every month. So thank you very much.